What's going on, guys? Sharpshot here. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. So for today's video, I'm going to be answering the question, should you prestige in Dead by Daylight? Just to lay out the video, I'm basically going to explain what prestiging actually is, and then I'm going to move on to the pros and cons of actually prestiging, and then I'm going to move on to the pros and cons of not prestiging, and then finally at the end of the video, I'm going to be giving my opinion on what I recommend you guys do in regards to prestiging. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video. What is prestiging? So every character, whether that be killers or survivors, have 50 levels in their blood web. Once you reach level 50, you're maxed out and you can't upgrade any further. If you try and complete that blood web, it'll just keep going back to 50, so you basically are buying an unlimited amount of items and add-ons and stuff like that. Instead of doing that, you can click the center button and actually prestige, and once you prestige, their blood web goes back to level 1. They're unlockable, so your items, your perks, your add-ons, your offerings all get wiped and you don't have any. But on top of that, you also get one item cosmetic per prestige, and since there are 3 customizable cosmetic sets in the head, chest, and legs, each prestige is one of those cosmetic sets. But just a quick side note, the teachable perks that you had unlocked and bought prior to prestiging are gonna stay on the other character's blood web, so you're all set with that. Every character has 3 prestiges. At the end of it, you can be prestige 3 level 50, so in total you would have unlocked 200 levels if you had gotten to prestige 3 level 50. All right, so moving on to why you should prestige. The first pro that comes with prestiging is obviously the cosmetics. You get the bloody cosmetic that looks really cool for both the survivors and the killers. It'll definitely stand out from the crowd and look a lot more experienced compared to all of the other survivors you queue up with. The second, and I think the biggest pro to why you should prestige, is that you have increased node rarities. Just a little background, a node is each little thing you buy in a blood web level. So every perk you buy, every item, every add-on, every offering is considered a node. Increased node rarities means that the rarity of that specific node is increased, so they're going to be rarer. So that'll basically mean that your blood web is going to become better and better, and you're going to have more rare items as you progress through the prestiges. So I'm going to put up a little table on the screen right now that shows the increased percentage chance of getting a specific tier at the specific prestiges. Reading the table, the little notches means you have a 0% increased chance, so it stays the same throughout all the prestiges. And for example, after you get to prestige 1, you'll have an added 10% chance of getting a rare item, so this adds on to the base chance. I actually don't know what the chance is, but say the percent of getting a rare item in a blood web level is 5%. After prestiging to prestige 1, it'll be 15% chance. So as you can obviously see, if you get to prestige 3, going back to the example, if it's a base chance of 5%, you'll have a 35% chance of getting a rare item, and all the way down to an ultra rare, you have an extra 10% chance of getting a better item. It's definitely a lot better at prestige 3. So if you're at P3 level 50, your final blood web that you just keep rebuying from is going to have insane items, offerings, and add-ons. Moving on to the cons, the first big con is that you have to put a ton more blood points into actually getting to prestige 3. As I said before, getting to P3 level 50 is like unlocking 200 levels in the blood web, and as you might know, the blood web increases each level, so it becomes more and more expensive each level to actually get to level 50. I did the calculations. It takes you around 1.2 to 1.7 million blood points to get to level 50. At tier 2 and tier 3, it becomes a little more expensive because the items increase in rarity from the table I showed you previously. So it'll probably cost you around an extra 4.5 to 5 million blood points going from level 50 all the way to prestige 3 level 50. It's pretty expensive and it's a really grindy journey. That is definitely something you should take in consideration and is definitely a big con. The second con that comes up is that it does wipe your unlockables every single time you do prestige. That's pretty annoying if you don't have a lot of other killers or survivors to level up from that have good perks. For example, I was running into this issue. I didn't have any other survivors up to level 50 and none of them have good perks, so it was really tough getting back up to level 50 again because I had no good blood point builds to work with. Whatever perks came up in the blood webs is what I used, so it just slowed down the process that much more. So a little tip I would have is to make sure when you're prestige prestiging a survivor or a killer, make sure you have a backup killer or survivor that actually has a good build that you can grind blood points with, and it'll speed up the process that much quicker. Moving on to why you shouldn't prestige your characters, the first pro in not prestiging is that you save so many blood points. As I mentioned before, it takes 5 million extra blood points to get just one character from level 50 all the way to prestige 3 level 50. If you were to have every killer and every survivor just maxed out to level 50 and not prestige them, getting them from there to prestige 3 level 50 would cost you an extra 255 million blood points, which is absolutely ridiculous. So with those extra saved blood points, that could also allow you to spread out your blood points across a ton of characters. But if you do choose to max out prestige 3 level 50, you'll be stuck to only having a couple of characters having good builds. There are also some drawbacks to not prestiging. The first con is that you don't have the cosmetics, but if you don't really care about the cosmetics, that isn't the end of the world. Another con is that if you do end up maxing to level 50 but don't prestige, you're gonna have cheaper and less good rarity items in your level 50 blood web. If you are trying to save up and stack up a bunch of really good items, you're gonna have a pretty tough time making those ultra rares to appear. Moving on to my opinion on whether you should or shouldn't prestige in Dead by Daylight. Whether you're a casual player and don't have that much time on your hands, or you're a grinder that has a ton of time on your hands, I would recommend at least prestiging your one main survivor and your one main killer. Prestiging one survivor and one killer is good because you're not going to be dumping a ton of blood points and just constantly prestiging everybody, and then you can focus on actually getting really good perks on those specific characters that you did P3 level 50. So the best way to do this is to actually rush that character to P3 level 50. When you're buying the nodes in the blood web, buy the cheapest possible nodes that you can. Don't care about the perks or what you're actually buying. So once you finally do get to P3 level 50, you'll have saved a little bit of blood points and you'll get there a lot quicker too. Once you do actually get there, that's when you can funnel all the teachable perks from the other characters onto that prestiged character, and you'll have one character that has a ton of really good builds and a ton of really good items from the increased item rarity, which is always really fun to play with. If you do have a little bit more time on your hands, I would recommend even then only getting one survivor to prestige 3, because doing multiple survivors at P3, literally nothing's changing. It's just the cosmetics that are changing. But getting P3 level 50 on different killers is a different story because they have different add-ons and different abilities. You're going to be getting a different experience per each killer. So I would definitely focus on prestiging more killers than survivors. And when you're actually going to prestige, don't get a character up to level 50 and then buy a ton of items, buy a ton of perks, and then decide halfway through, oh, I want to P3 level 50 this character, because that'll waste you so many blood points that you could have saved and actually rush to the next prestige with. Don't hesitate and just prestige right when you can, just to save as many blood points. So yeah, those were the pros and cons to prestiging in Dead by Daylight. Just to quickly summarize, I think you should prestige one survivor and one killer, and then focus all of the rest of your blood points on funneling all of the teachable perks on those prestige characters. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you found this tutorial helpful, and if there's any other things in DBD you're confused about and want me to make a guide about, let me know in the comments as well, and I'd be more than happy to look into making a video on that. So yeah guys, that's been the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you're new. This has been Sharpshot, and I will see you guys in the next video.